the biggest thing for Hound Stigma is the roar. In EN, I believe it's just called War Roar. Now, EN have a long freaking, explanation. I'm not gonna go through all of that. You got the the usual final damage reduction and such. But those can read it yourself. But what the roar does is kind of crazy. It entices every single range unit in the game that relies on physical projectiles, and it also entices every single melee in the game because it force knockdown anyone nearby when the roar is triggered. So you can kind of know how good this unit is, right? That's its chassis 1. That means a new players who just get this unit to 5-star is able to access this skill and can probably steamroll through the entire story using this skill even with bad builds, just because it freaking counters every single things at the moment in this game, which is kind of crazy. And the melee knockdown thing isn't just force knockdown at close range, right? It also applies regular knockdowns at long range. And the thing is, and the funny thing about that is, let's say if he's facing against a ranged unit, right? Let's say if he's facing against Tamamo Mai, right? Tamamo Mai shoots freaking, shoots her, right? Or shoots Hound Sigma. Freaking all the bullets that that can be destroyed from Tamamo will be destroyed. Only the beams will be left, and the beam probably is enough to kill freaking Hound Sigma. I mean, probably could, but if you have a good build, you probably wouldn't, right? Then the roar, not only it will destroy all the bullets on the field, it will also do a regular knockdown on Tamamo Mai. Now, if it is in the iframe or something like that, then it probably wouldn't trigger. But if somehow in whatever luck it didn't, right, it might just get knocked down regularly, which probably hasn't happened in regular PvP for a long time now. That would be kind of crazy. So, and of course, that's modern PvP. If you're using this unit in regular stages, right, then the entire field is gonna get knocked down because this skill is just that good. For the close by one, that is guaranteed knockdown. And for the longer ones, right, in regular PvP, I don't think they have anti-knockdown, so all of them will be knocked down as well, and deal damage to them too. So it's kind of crazy how this one roar move counters every single melee in the game and majority of the range in the game, because majority of the range now relies on physical projectile. Like, you need funnels, you need freaking missile, you need like the bullets on the field to go into the enemies, and less relying on about big beams now. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy how this roar does every single thing. This is the reason why in the EN comments I actually commented here as well. The roar here, the C1 roar can deal with a lot of stuff. And it didn't. I don't think even says in this roar, in this thing. And it is to a point where, future units requires anti-Hound Sigma, or requires their projectile to not be destructible, to counter or to work against Hound Sigma, because Hound Sigma is just so, because it's every 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds clears the entire field of projectiles. No freaking range can live in that kind of in those kind of conditions unless you can kill Hound Sigma in within 4 seconds, which is really hard considering Hound Sigma is a tank. Like, it literally have a combat mechanics. So even without anything. So like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it covers every single thing. So again, in top PvP, okay, so this unit was quote unquote nerfed along with a lot of other units because of the bugs where it will get like double amount of the survivability in top PvP. But even then, it didn't change the fact that the roar can still do all the things that it can do. Now, it might not survive as long against another Hound Sigma or against a Griffith, or against the Griffith, who can probably one-shot them from combo along with their anti force actions. But aside from that, I guess aside from that, it can still do just everything that it can do, into this meta. So freaking, I don't really think Cycle, or I guess when this unit come on NC, Cycle of Cycle is gone because it just couldn't do damage because of the roar. So yeah. And of course, the melee damage or the force knockdown at close range is also just shows how important it is for someone like her, because she can prevent that force knockdown from her second skills. So yeah. So unless you're going in, so if you were to go in with a freaking Hongwu to well on this guy, then the Hongwu is gonna get knocked out. Well, Hongwu, after he get knocked down, he'll come back up. So for Hongwu should be passable. But let's say for another unit, right? For another, just your regular average Joe, freaking your regular average Joe of what PvP team out there? Your regular average Joe of fucking Shensheng, right? There's no chance. There's no freaking chance that I can survive against that, right? Maybe, maybe Grade Zero can do something, because Grade Zero usually keep a distance, and normal KD probably wouldn't KD it, as well as the banishment can probably do it. But other than that, you know, a lot of other units that doesn't have unique properties like these are gonna probably get screwed because of the chassis alone. And we're only talking about this roar still. So yeah. But anyway, that's the main reason why I think it is so good for new players, because look, in top PvP it might not be as good as when it come out, you know, in NC, or even back in NC, right? You know, Griffith or some other units are more popular than Hound Stigma, because, you know, a lot of range have anti bullet destruction and such, right? Even then, for a new player though, for new players, you know, even though Griffith or some future units are better, then yeah, I better. Hold on, why is the Kofi stream bot posting a thing? You know, whatever. So even though Griffith, even though, you know, those new OP units, well, Gunbuster are probably also good for new players, I think. But let's say some other units that, you know, let's say just some of the future units, right? Even though they might be more preferable in PvP, or in top PvP, it doesn't change the fact that Hound of Stigma is still the best compared to them for a new player, just because of the situation you can deal with, right? You know, Griffith might be good for the spammings, right? But what happened if it, you know, if you build it not as great, right? You might just lose, even on a simple freaking PvE stages for new players, right? And the best thing is, we're only talking about the PvE side and the PvE for, you know, against, you know, like in regular PvEs, right? If you want to do events, or, you know, just, you know, get through stages, right? The biggest thing is that it is also quadruple purpose for even in high rank PvE as well. Yeah, even in high rank PvE as well. Because this roar, again, I told you, know, Fork's knockdown, bullet destruction works against, you know, bosses. Of course, if the boss also have anti, you know, if future boss also have the units that have anti, you know, ammo destruction, then, you know, then that wouldn't work. But even just a close range Fork's knockdown are already an incredible skill to force CC the enemies. So you can use Hound Stigma as a tank, you know, to constantly get knocked, you know, constantly get hit by the boss and knocking the boss down for your DPS to do damage. Not just that, because Hound Stigma itself, if you get it to enough, you know, stars, right? Let's say you get it to 8 star, but you skip his weapons, it is able to beat the DPS as well. Not the best DPS, right? But close to it. Because I think it is only about 10% less DPS than Griffith if you have like the maximum build, which is, you know, incredible. Because again, Griffiths are a PvE, you know, are the best normal type DPS for a long time, until it was dethroned recently, right? So, that means Hound Stigma is right behind that as well. So, yeah. And we're only talking about his first chassis so far. Well, for the DPS, it's also because of his second chassis, because, you know, his second chassis also scale final damage value percentage with his HP. That means HP builds his back, bro. So, yeah. Okay, but one thing about Hound Stigma is, if you're only using PvE against bosses, well, look, if you're doing stages and stuff like that, then get the weapons too. Or I guess getting weapon is fine. Not that you should get a weapon. Weapon should be his last, but if you are using this unit as a boss CC and you don't have it as at, I guess, higher stars, then skip his weapons, because his weapon will you know, make the boss go all over the place, and it will be harder for your DPS or for your own Hound Stigma to do damage to for that. So yeah, I'm just gonna show that thing Yeah. Let me see if I can shield that weapon. So yeah, you can also see the weapon. Yeah, you don't want, like, that is fine, but you don't want it to use the other one. You don't want it to use the freaking yeah, this one. You don't want it to use this, because again, you know, your DPS is gonna have a hard time fighting the boss if the boss is getting, you know, tossed around like that. So yeah, but yeah, what else? Okay, and of course, second chances. Oh no, still on the first chances. Yeah, we're still on the first chances. You got, I don't know if it is a get out of jail card or get out of jail skill. I think the roar itself is a get out of jail skill, because let's say if you're in a grab and that thing triggered, then it will force knock down the guy that was grabbing you, so that's kind of the force knockdown. But the other part that can keep it surviving a little bit more is the 2-second damage immunities that will go into, you know, whenever I guess, yeah, whenever I think it takes damage, right? No, wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, yeah, whenever it uses the roars, right, it will not, like, its HP will not go down. That's I think one of the best form of damage immunity. Now, the property of this is kind of weird, because it kind of is less about damage reduction. Like, hold on, let's see how this is. Yeah, HP will not decrease. Now, it will decrease in the sense of it saves where your HP was at, and it will just constantly healing back to that HP. That means if somehow, like, let's say if you're at very low HP, and if the enemy is able to do enough damage, then the rubber banding back of the HP, you can actually die in these durations. But that's very rare circumstances, but I want to put it out there in case if you experience it, if you experience that, right? So for now, just know this is a very, very good defensive skill. It's literally a 2-second, I think, right? Yeah, 2-second damage, like immunity, almost nearly, that can trigger every 4 seconds. So like so you only had 2-second window to damage it. So just imagine Tamamo might able to do something against this guy, right? Or just, you know, a lot of them, even the future units against this guy, right? So yeah, so, you know, its first chassis covers everything, counters nearly everything in the game. Also debuff enemy, right? Yeah, I didn't talk about the debuffing of the the pilot stats. And as you know, her skill also had to deal with pilot stats. So that means they will be paired, you know, even better with each other, because, you know, I think this guy, takes enemy stats and give it to yourself. So if you are using, you know, her, then she can activate even better of her, you know, third skill. That's gonna be pretty good synergy. Yeah, pretty good synergy. And what else? And of course, yeah, for the second chassis, aside from the, you know, final damage increase, or yeah, final damage increase with HP, when its HP go under 30 seconds, it will go into a 15 seconds of kind of like I don't know how to say it in English. What is it in English? Harness of intimidation or something like that. Yeah, something. It'll go into a mode where it will constantly be healing 3% HP per second for 30 seconds. That's basically getting back to full HP as if it is not taking damage. But you know, it is most likely gonna be taking damage. But let's say in regular PvE modes, right? If like, let's say a new player pushing through stages, you don't even need heals, because whenever they go down to 30% HP, it would just have a 30 second time where it will just get most of its HP back, and it can trigger constantly, I believe, as long like within a certain cooldown. So hold on, let me just make sure I'm reading it right. Okay, I don't know if there's a cooldown on the. Okay, oh, never mind. Okay, so, okay, the HP recovery is 15 seconds. So, okay, but the gap between that is 30 seconds. But I think in regular PvP, if a new player got this unit for regular PvE, right, then I think it is pretty hard for most PvE units to do enough damage, to freaking, to kill Hound of Sigma before the 30-second cooldown is over, because, it will just heal what's called, like, 3 times 15. How much is that? It's like 45% HP back. So yeah, good luck on that. Freaking PvE bosses or regular PvE stages. Yeah. Not to mention, during that durations, you will also be using, 2 phantom attacks on the enemies that basically is literally on the enemies. So yeah, that's gonna be even harder. Plus, it also freaking get a 70% phantom damage reduction. I don't know what they're thinking when they're designing these units, but yeah, imagine killing these things in any, regular PvE stages, and yeah. So, but anyway, I hope that shows how strong or how good this unit is for top, for new players. But just know that for top players, it might not be as strong as when it come out on NC because of the quote unquote nerfs. But most units are nerfed, right? For that reason. But so I think it can still be, because everyone is nerfed. I think the only difference is that some older units might be able to do some more stuff and not be completely destroyed by this unit. So yeah. But again, new player, that's just pretty good. And for the weapons, it got sword, it got fist. That's honestly enough, because having sword and heavy fist opens up you to a lot of builds and other skills that you can use, and that's pretty good, awesome enough. For DPS. So. And now for his action, his action is actually one of the least freaking matter, for this thing, because of the chassis are just so good. Because again, he doesn't need to do anything. You exist on the field and you are already killing the enemy team by not allowing enemy to freaking get up and not allowing the enemy to shoot anything. And his action is kind of just trivial, because you don't even, it's still needs action for the iframes, right? Between the damage immunity, between the roars, it still needs to try to do something in order to get be in a state of immunity until the next roar is cooldown is done and such, right? You still need to do that. But aside from that, yeah, like it can literally be constantly CC'd and it still be fine. And it will still be benefiting to the team because it just exists on the field. So yeah, pretty awesome. But for this unit, you definitely want to have 7-star, because you want the second HP, you want the second chassis, and you also want the action, because as I said before, you still need to do something. You still need to do something during the times where, during the very short times that the freaking where his broken chassis isn't active at the moment. So and of course, if you depending on your build, that these are all without builds at the moment, right? Depending on the build, using these, actions, these powerful actions, will also be able to, trigger a lot of the skills and our damage and a lot of pilot skills, and it will just become a unit of just pure, literally guts anime. I don't know how strong guts is in Berserk, but probably as strong as guts in the anime, if not stronger, maybe. So anyway. Let's get into the builds, and sorry for talking about it for so long, because I really need to set the ideas of how strong it is and how you should probably not roll Tamamo Mai, because Tamamo Mai has nothing against this thing. Now again, Tamamo Mai is still used in top PvE now, right? So does that mean does that mean IronSaga is less worth? No, I don't think so, because Tamamo Mai is too specific, right? It's too specific for the players. Like, it will only matters for the players who actually knows how to use her and have all the gaming knowledge and the money even to build a whole asset team in order to make her work. Well, for IronSaga, pretty sure people still use IronSaga in Zenith and in Apex, because it's just too hard to pass up, right? So yeah. Broken unit even without builds. All right, so now let's get into the builds.